where one man, shaped like a human-sized relish bottle, feels threatened over competition in the podcast space.
Those 3 Big Macs are for me.
Big Mac and Snack Akademiks is getting juggled by Joe and manhandled by Mano. Coming to a theater near you this holiday season. Big Macs and Big Beefs.
Lobbies and gentlegrams, the hungry henny hogging humongous gobbler of Big Macs and Drake's package has been attacking rappers podcasting, and now he's on damage control as they're blasting a hole in his henny persona. The Madonna of Marilyn Monroe host totem pole doing tricks and dances on Lobby's log doesn't like that rappers took over his job, so the henny hog is comparing himself to the Charles Schwab of podding. He claims he invented this thing, and how dare Mano and Jim Jones step in his ring, but with all the fake cries he professes and sings, he's facing the bad wrath and backlash of the weapons it brings. Every podcast going at him. Let's break it all down and get to the action, but before we step foot, I have one quick distraction. You gotta hit the like and subscribe buttons with passion.
I study
Rapaholics
for a living.
Alright, lobbies and gentlegrams, another day, another shenanigan from the Big Mac a Snack a Diddler. Mano gave him the new nickname of Acarelish, cause he's shaped like a relish bottle. So we might keep that for this video, or we might call him Big Mac a Snack a Relish. Now, Big Mac a Snack a Relish, he's in a lot of trouble right now. We usually know him for picking on easy targets, mainly women, who he knows he can get away with blasting on social media, cause what are they gonna do, beat him up? It's easy targets from the perspective of there's no violent physical repercussions that could come from his words, right?
See, I'm starting to think that maybe this is your aesthetic. You do the fake and then you sit in a room full of cameras and try to make a bitch crash out. You know, that's like, we from the hood. Oh yeah, that's like we tell the bitch, come in my house, cause I can do whatever I want to. You don't have to, me and you can meet, we want to meet you outside.
I don't care what rapper got at me, bro. Ever. But like really, there's certain shit I really don't fuck with in my life and I would never do. But like I gotta sit here and act like I know I'm in America. I gotta sit here and just act like I don't fuck with certain shit. I would never like it.
My nigga's so angry right now, he would have cried. That's the type of anger right now.
Yo, just please. I'm telling you, I'm only pretending.
Well, he's proceeding with caution in his latest back and forth online, and that's because he knows Mano is not Lauren LaRosa, Mano is not Megan Thee Stallion, Mano is not SZA. He can't turn the disrespect up to the highest degree and not expect anything to come of it. And you could tell he's a little scared. But even if he wasn't, Mano most definitely is not scared to hold back, and he's most definitely not. Aside from just calling Akademiks a relish bottle, he also says that all the girls that Akademiks deals with call him Chicken Nugget because of the tiny thing he has down there.
Those 3
chicken nuggets
are for me.
He's saying Akademiks is insecure, he's scared of women, he spent his childhood hiding from women, and he's even bringing up the whole child with the Discord thing that happened earlier this year. It got crazy. It got crazy on both ends. Akademiks didn't hold back necessarily either, but every 5 seconds he had to warn Mano that this is just for the purpose of the podcast. He doesn't want any physical repercussions. He just wants Big Macs. And of course, the Joe Budden podcast stepped in as well to offer their takes. This whole thing is an absolute mess, and we're gonna break it all down. Now, if you guys don't know who Mano is, he's a Brooklyn native, born in 1973, so when you hear Snack a Diddler make some old jokes, it's because Mano is around 52 years old. In the early 90s, Mano was involved in a drug-related kidnapping, which led to a prison sentence of around 5 to 15 years. He ended up serving 10 years total behind bars, and that's when he actually turned to rapping. He said he started writing lyrics just out of sheer boredom, and just as a way to stay sane in prison. And then he was eventually released from prison in 2003. And once he did, he got straight to work and actually accomplished quite a bit within the industry. He founded his own independent label, Hustle Hard Entertainment, built his name through the mixtape circuit in New York, signed the deal with UMG in 2005, but they shelved his album, so he kept releasing independent mixtapes while he was attempting to get out of that deal. And then by 2008, he signed with Atlantic Records, with his Hustle Hard Entertainment label as an imprint under Atlantic. And that's when he blew up on a pretty big level for a couple years after that. I remember he had the breakout hit, High Hater, and then the massive hit, All the Above featuring T-Pain. That's one of T-Pain's best hooks, by the way. And after that, he released a couple mixtapes and albums, but his commercial success within hip-hop really came in that 2008-2009 era. Now, what many people don't know, but it'll play an important role in the story very shortly, is that in that same era where Maino was reaching the height of his mainstream success, he was actually very active vlogging on YouTube as well. He was posting consistently on YouTube 17 years ago, and he had a little web series called Up Close and Personal with Maino.
We go to BK.
We go to Gates.
We go to some gorilla shit like with it, you know what I mean? I don't know why we just think we the toughest shit on earth. Being on some G shit.
Look.
While the modern idea, as what we know today of a podcast, wasn't a fully formed concept back then, and neither was a vlog, you can see Maino was very early at adopting the internet to give fans a glimpse into his personal life outside of just the music. You could say he was a pioneer in this space, but maybe he didn't reach the heights that made him a force to be reckoned with at the time. As far as what we know podcasting as today, you could look no further than Joe Rogan for being the biggest podcast creator by a mile within the industry. If you want perspective on how far back Maino was actually doing this thing before podcasting ever seemed like it could be a full-fledged career, it was only about a year before Maino ever put out his first vlog on his own YouTube channel that Joe Rogan actually had the idea for his own podcast. It was in 2007 when his friend Tom Green turned his own living room into an internet broadcast studio, and he was doing a live talk show directly streamed to the internet from his living room. Fans could call in. It had the same exact dynamic as a podcast you would see today. And although Tom Green wasn't the inventor of the podcast, that came in around 2004, Tom Green laid the foundation for the structure of what we would now know as the quote-unquote podcast. Again, this is all going to play an important role in the Maino academic story shortly, but it's kind of cool to take a history lesson on this stuff as well. I mean, again, back then, everything was being broadcasted through television, right? So you had to be censored, you had to follow the guidelines of whatever network you were on. It was unheard of to basically do the exact same thing as a talk show, but run it all by yourself, have fans call in, bring on whatever guests you want, talk about whatever you want, all from the comfort of your own home studio in your home. The only problem was there was no money in it way back in 2007. But it was this very show that struck the light bulb off in Joe Rogan's head to create what we would now know as the biggest podcast in the game.
This is the craziest thing ever.
You're connected. It really is different than television.
This is way better.
It's like radio, but it's like television.
Well, not only that, there's not a corporate pressure. See,
Yeah.
The thing that f***ed up television, the thing that f***ed up entertainment in general, is money. As I say, everybody has to say certain words, don't say certain words. You can't just express yourself because you're expressing yourself to someone who's selling advertising space. You just need to keep doing this. We need to figure out how you make money from this.
Yeah. I know you're into this computer thing.
And again, just keep a tab in the back of your mind that it was only about a year later that Maino started doing his own form of podcasting on his own YouTube page. As far as Snackarelish goes, we do have to give him credit where credit is due. He was a pioneer in the internet content creation space as well. While Maino was serving time behind bars, Akademiks immigrated to the United States with his mother and brother in 2001. He was in high school around the time, and he ended up going to Rutgers University in New Jersey, and that's where he would commence his DJ career. Yes, he really was a DJ before he was an internet personality and Big Mac master. He claims to have been on a lot of rap blogs and forums in the early internet days, and by the time he got to college, he was actually a DJ on the college's radio station every Saturday night. He would then start DJing parties at the college, and he would post clips of those parties onto his YouTube channel, which was started in 2012, about 4 years after Maino.
Back in the studio, another edition of Campus Invasion Radio.
He would graduate, no pun intended, from college parties and radio shows to eventually just posting his takes on different events in hip-hop directly onto his YouTube page in around mid-2013. So this is where it all really started for Akademiks. The advantage he had against radio stations and other media outlets was that he was always the first one to report whatever was happening. He even claims that he'd be working low-wage jobs, and when news would break, he would run to his car and record and edit YouTube videos on the spot just to make sure he was the first one to break the news. Charlemagne the God, who at the time already had his spot on Power 106 and had been in the broadcasting industry for a long time, mentored Akademiks early on, even appearing on Akademiks' YouTube channel in around 2013.
Before I knew you, did I always treat you back? Yeah, you did. Because that's the type of person I am.
Charlemagne was also one of the first entertainers within hip-hop to start his own podcast, The Brilliant Idiots, with Andrew Schultz in 2014, long before Akademiks ever started one. But in that same year, 2014, Akademiks would start a second YouTube channel that would completely change the trajectory of his career. Not necessarily for the better. It was the war in Chirac, where he would satirize violent events that occurred within Chicago, cultivating a fan base of people who saw the comedy in the nicknames and satirization that Akademiks would bring to these incredibly dark situations. Now, for me personally, I remember seeing Akademiks heavy on YouTube around 2015, when he'd report on major events within hip-hop like the Lil Wayne and Birdman falling out, the Drake and Meek Mill beef, the rise of Young Thug. I didn't even know about the war in Chirac until Vic Mensa called out Akademiks on the Everyday Struggle show in around 2017.
You were a little bit repulsed by the fact that so many people outside the culture of Chicago, they hyped up the music, not knowing that real lives were being affected, deaths and other type of madness happened within the music, and the music was a real life depiction of that. Like, how did you feel about that?
I wanted to slap you in your face.
But by then, he had long retired that War in Chirac channel. He realized there was more money in, again, being the quickest one to report any major news within hip-hop on his various platforms. His Instagram page became akin to a World Star or a TMZ, where every viral clip would be posted. His YouTube became almost like a mini talk radio station where he would provide commentary on the major moments that were happening across the genre. And by 2016, he started going live on Twitch, something that was very unconventional for hip-hop broadcasters or internet personalities to do at the time. But he built up a very niche, smaller audience, live streaming every single night. Now, the reason I say Akademiks was a pioneer is because he was one of the first few commentators who wasn't tied to a brand, wasn't reporting through the traditional mediums like radio and television, but beyond that, he was approaching the internet in a different way.
Those 3 Big Macs are for me.
What I mean by that is you might have never known what Akademiks even looked like early on, but you recognize the brand because it was everywhere. You might get your news off Instagram, he was there reporting it. Same thing with Twitter. You might recognize his voice on YouTube because no one at the time was really doing those 5-minute clips where they would talk about whatever the hell was going on that particular day. So he wasn't just a news outlet, but he also wasn't just a radio or entertainment personality. He was kind of everything all in one, coupled with also being a live streamer, which again, no one was really doing at the time. But notice how I didn't mention podcaster once throughout Akademiks' entire come up, right? That's because he had no direct attachment to the rise of podcasting in the slightest. Instead, that was his Everyday Struggle co-star, Joe Budden.
Right. Hey, I watch every thing you do. You want to talk about it?
Is Drake scared of Kendrick? Let me get my direct question.
Yes.
Remember, back in 2007, Joe Rogan was talking to Tom Green about how the concept of the podcast that he created in his living room was great. They just needed to figure out a way to make money off of it, right? Well, even by 2016, almost 10 years later, there still wasn't a clear blueprint on how to make money off of podcasting. You had to do it for the love of the vision, and that's exactly what Joe Budden did. Right now, his podcast Patreon alone is pulling in allegedly around $1 million a month in subscription revenue, but when he started the podcast in 2015, 2016, it wasn't making him any money. Probably for many years that he was actually doing it, he barely made a dime. Meanwhile, with Akademiks, he was likely getting paid pretty decently from the ad revenue off of YouTube and from promotions that he would run on his Instagram for different artists. He probably wasn't even thinking about a podcast. He only created one years later, I believe in like 2019, once he was already very established in the commentary space, right? You'll see why I'm bringing that up shortly.
Spicy.
Meanwhile, you have Mano. Mano's been venturing into podcasting and radio for years at this point. He had his own podcast called the Kitchen Talk Podcast, and he was a co-host on Angela Yee's show, Way Up. But recently, he started his own podcast, and it wasn't just him. It was 4 New York artists, Mano, Jim Jones, Fabulous, and Dave East. 4 artists you could argue whose prime days rapping might be behind them, but that's actually arguably the best time to start podcasting, not just because it's a new form of income, but at this point you have so many stories, so much experience behind the scenes. You have a lot of knowledge to create a very entertaining dialogue within your show. That's exactly what we saw with Joe Budden early on. That's what we saw with Nori with Drink Champs. That's what we saw with Tank and his R&B Money podcast. That's what we saw recently with Jadakiss and Fat Joe with the Joe and Jada show, or Gillian Wallow with $1 Million Worth of Game. As you can see, it's been a common route, especially as of recent times, for rappers or artists in general to venture off into podcasting in the later stages of their career. And usually it does work out pretty successfully. All the shows I named you, those are highly successful podcasts. And it's looking like Mano, Fab, Jim Jones, and Dave East will experience similar success. Their show is already starting off having some pretty decent numbers off the rip, already making some noise, which obviously caught the attention of DJ Snacker Relish. Now, what Akademiks specifically called out about their podcast was their choice in fashion. You have to understand, when you're creating a podcast or any form of visual media, you want to pop out in a certain capacity, right? You want people to remember not just what you sound like, what you're talking about, but also what you look like. So they're wearing very colorful clothes, big jackets. They have glasses on the entire podcast. You can't see their eyes. They're dressing how a rapper would dress. And it's kind of interesting because they're meshing like old New York style with modern day streetwear. It doesn't work for everybody, but it works for them. And you also have to remember, Jim Jones, Fabulous, these were pioneers, or at the very least, they built a big part of their brand early on when they were rapping actively, as being also known for their fashion.
It's too smooth, man. Who am I here with today?
Chapo.
Listen, my boy. I see you just down. I'm gonna talk to me next. How much your figure? Start with the hat. How much the hat?
How much the hat?
The hat, yeah.
What I got on? Oh, $50 for the fitted.
$50 for the hat. Okay.
Harlem shit.
Okay. How much the chains? How much the chains, my boy?
This one is like 70.
70. Okay.
This one's like a buck.
A buck, 100. Okay.
It's like 60. 50 for that. 50 something, I believe it was. This is like a dub.
A dub, okay.
I don't know what I paid for that.
My boy, how much for the jacket? How much for the jacket?
Jim Jones with the Diplomats in the mid-early 2000s. They were always rocking something bold, flashy, baggy. They would mix the luxury brands like Louis Vuitton with streetwear like Bape. I always say that Lil Wayne's most iconic style, that came from obviously the Clipse and Pharrell, but also the Diplomats, Joel Santana, Jim Jones, Cameron, etc. So they were very influential in their fashion. Same thing with Fabulous. He had those matchy outfits with the sneakers and the jerseys, also mixing in some designer with the streetwear. A lot of what you see rappers wear today could be influenced in part by Fabulous, by the Diplomats. So Akademiks, as he's watching their podcast, he starts clowning the different outfits they're all wearing.
Are New York City gentlemen in their 40s and 50s having, I won't even call it a midlife crisis, but they're literally having like this like almost stunted development. All the 50-year-old men who were gangsters and cool dudes back in the day seem to have the most childish ideals. They're all dressing like they're YNs, acting as if they are children, and they're still playing the same childish games as if they were 14 and 15. Now, Jim Jones, who we all know, he is what we call a senior citizen. We just have to be honest. Jim Jones is someone living out a fifth childhood, and it's okay. I don't necessarily mind the drip. I just would hope he would use some Beijing, because I think the gray hair peppered around the tight jeans and muscle shirts throws me off. That's it.
Spicy.
Other than that, I actually do. I like Jim Jones not only for his music. I like the fact that Jim Jones is showing that no matter how old you are, he's always fit in shape. And even though he might need to work out the legs, he's in the gym all the time, obviously, right? And I actually do like that, right? Now, one person I thought I wouldn't be adding to this list is Fabulous. Now, Fabulous is one of those guys, you know, I've always said I've listened to Fabulous music for over 10 years, and I don't know one thing about this. He got all the punchlines, for everything, but I've never thought his music was a great reflection of giving me an insight into his world, and maybe I've just listened differently than other people. But Fabulous is also one of those people that when I see him on Instagram, I kind of be like, yo, is he trying to dress like a YN too? I can't tell. Now, I like Fabulous. You know what I mean? Fabulous is always like, at a point in New York City history, he was like, to me, the coolest guy. He was always seen as like the coolest guy from New York, right?
However, I just want to let me see. How old is Fabulous? Fabulous is 48 years old. These days, when I'm seeing Fabulous, you know, by the way, there's nothing wrong with trying to dress well, but at certain points, I'm like, is Fab serious? Like, I can't really tell.
Now, you know, aside from that, you can also see Akademiks is chirping them for acting like kids when they're all in their 40s and 50s. And I just find all of this ironic, because not only does Akademiks get on live stream every night and act like a big henny-hogging baby, throwing toddler-like temper tantrums, but if you want to talk fashion, like I told you guys, I didn't know Akademiks early on from the War in Chirac days, but I did watch him heavily on Everyday Struggle. And one thing I always remember about that era is how absolutely tacky this man used to dress, guys. I remember being younger thinking like a big reason why guests and stuff didn't take him seriously, or Joe Budden didn't take him seriously, is because of the way he dressed. Like, he presented himself like the inside of a candy store. Like, all these shirts look like they're one sneeze away from being completely ripped to shreds, and the color palettes were just like all over the place. It looked like a Polly Pocket playset. The jacket never matched the shirt. The shirt always looked like it was trying too hard to match the hat. It was all a mess. So for Akademiks of all people to talk about another person's fashion choice is absolutely insane to me.
Those 3 Big Macs are for me.
And you also have to remember the fact that a lot of these guys, again, they were big on fashion in the mid-2000s, right? They're not just going to start wearing different stuff. I mean, everything they're wearing on this podcast is pretty consistent with the brand, with the identity they built stylistically early on. It's pretty consistent, but they didn't have too much to say about Akademiks' comments specifically on the fashion stuff. While Jim Jones, Fabulous, and Dave East decided to hold back from attacking Akademiks, Mano most definitely did not, coming up with some of the most creative nicknames I've ever heard anyone give Snack a relish. And you gotta remember again, Mano has had a pretty decent tenure in the broadcasting, radio, or podcasting space for the last decade and a half. So he knows how to roast you on the spot if he needs to. And that's exactly what he did. They couldn't even start the freaking podcast and do the intro before Mano started going off on Akademiks.
Yo, we back with another episode, man. Let's rap about it. How y'all feeling today, man?
Feeling great. Yo, Akademiks, check this out. Akademiks.
What's up?
Akademiks, I know you're not talking. 100%. I know you're not talking. You got the audacity to be speaking on niggas and is wearing? You talking about what is wearing? You talking about the proximity between what is wearing and their age? Let me explain something to you. You're a journalist and this is your opinion, so let me give you my opinion on you. I feel like you built like a dyke. I feel like you built like no, listen, 100%. Listen, I feel, let me just say how I feel. I feel like you built like a wet bag of laundry. I feel like you're built, no, listen, I feel like you're built like a jar of relish. You understand? You see, here's the thing, like this ain't no gangster talk. We ain't gonna do no gangster shit. But listen, what I'm saying, since you want to speak about, young niggas, old niggas, and when you do that, you indirectly causing division between young and old niggas. Ain't no difference between young and old. Only time. It's either you a lame or you not. It's either you with it or you not. It's either you understand or you don't. Period. Point blank. You understand? And when you speak about fashion and when you speak about what wearing today, let me just give you some game though. Timbs, Air Force Ones, Pelés, Averexes, and all the things that you see people wear today. Those things was made hot in this generation here. Those are the things that was made hot in the 80s and the 90s, and we made popular. So like, leave is out of that. Like you giving it your opinion, and my opinion to you is I think you built like a fucking a woman with 4 kids. Like, what are we really talking about? No. Let me talk though, because this is the problem. Talking every day we wake up is saying shit about us, special. And we ain't. Yeah. We take the high road every time, but we got to put things in perspective, right? You got to that probably spent most of his early life afraid to really be and couldn't be in the in crowd, was insecure, couldn't take his pants off in front of women. You understand what I'm saying? So now 100%. Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, ashamed, right? Because listen, you know part of being a senior citizen is that you're still outside. And I know the hoes. Everybody know man don't know the hoes. So I know the hoes that these DMing and all, and I know what they say about these boys. They call that boy you know what they call that boy? They call that boy chicken. Chicken for chicken nugget. Stop playing with me. Come on, Mike. I'm a big dick dictator. Stop playing with me. Everything I say, when I say go. Stop playing.
Holiday edition.
Stop playing. Yeah.
Oh man, a wet bag of laundry is crazy, guys. Mano's saying that the girls call him a chicken nugget. I think he's more like a blooming onion. You ever see a blooming onion? He's built like a Big Mac blooming onion. I'm gonna try to put a picture right here. Nah, but seriously, I mean, Akademiks wants to talk about, you know, different fashion choices and all that. Again, aside from him looking like he got his everyday struggle outfits from a teenager who attended Woodstock back in the 60s, he doesn't even know about the influence that Fabulous had with the jerseys back in the early 2000s. Like, he didn't understand that jerseys were a massive thing back then. He was shocked to hear about it. So it's no wonder that he's criticizing their fashion choices today. He doesn't understand where all this stuff even originated from and the influence that it has on fashion today.
I'm telling you, bro, in 2001, if you didn't have a jersey, first of all, a jersey was like, I don't even know, chrome hearts. Like how these young niggas go crazy over chrome hearts.
You gotta stop it. Jerseys with chrome hearts?
But anyways, guys, of course, now it's Akademiks' turn to respond to Wayno calling him a jar of relish, right? And again, this is not Saucy Santana, it's not SZA. Akademiks is aware of Mano's past, aware of the repercussions he could face if he talks crazy to Mano. So he almost had to do like a precursor to his actual roast. Like night one was him letting his fans know like he's concocting a response to Mano, but he wasn't going to deliver it then. He was just going to deliver the light version, the diet version of his roast. He had to see how much Hennessy he had to drink beforehand before he had the confidence to actually go up against Wayno. And I'm not even making a joke. This is literally what Akademiks said. But if you guys want an idea of, you know, how far Mano could potentially take it if Akademiks talk crazy to him, this is what Mano was talking about on his podcast just a couple days before he started this back and forth with Akademiks.
I got a whole song about my baby mother.
What?
Yeah, but my son's mother. 100%.
All right, we're going way too far. What?
Yeah, long time ago. But what I'm saying is this.
Virality
I know.
Now we in virality.
Where that came from just now?
I'm trying to tell you,
guys, we're in virality.
It's a point you getting daddy issues. All right. Baby mama trauma.
Everything all right.
Baby mama trauma.
Baby mama trauma is a real thing.
This song is on Apple Music.
Yeah.
What's the title of that joint? You dropped that?
It's called Kill You. It's old. It's on my first album.
Let's play this on the exit of the show.
No, listen. My point is this though. I never had a conversation with my son about it.
So with Akademiks keeping all this in mind, he had to warn Mano before he actually went in on him, saying like, this is all for the sake of the podcast. I'm going to go in on you, but you have to promise we keep this on the microphones. We don't resort to violence if we see each other and all that. It's just hilarious how Akademiks approaches a situation like this when he knows he can't go all the way off, when he knows he doesn't have an easy target. It's funny to see the angle he takes, right? Like he'll roast Mano and then he'll be every 5 seconds like, Mano, I love you. I want to let you know we're just joking here. It's like at this point, just drop it, right? Yeah, he called you a relish can. Let him have it and walk away because it could only get worse from here. Akademiks knows it. He's saying he's going to need the Henny tomorrow night because tonight is just the precursor. He's like LeBron. He's dropping a light 8 points. He's not going all the way in. Just making every excuse in the book.
I'm probably not going to be as offended as y'all think. I think he getting his jokes off like I got my jokes off. I think I'm funnier. So we could keep the jokes going. But yeah, I need to be like right now. I feel like LeBron tonight. LeBron dropped 8 points, man. Like I'll get the dub, but that 8 points ain't gonna do it. I gotta drop 45. I gotta be out there like hooping, nigga. 45 with it. Feel me? Like right now, not 8 points is crazy. LeBron need to retire. Nah. I'm not dropping 8 right now. Like right now, I'm dropping like 20. I'm dropping 20 right now. But you need a 45 day. You need a 45 day to handle it. So like tomorrow's stream, I'm gonna see what mood I'm in. I'm gonna have the bottle ready, and I'm not even watching, like, I still ain't watch a full video. I want to watch it live tomorrow. And whatever that Hennessy or that, matter of fact, I'm going back to Hennessy for tomorrow. I haven't drank Hennessy in a while, but I'm going back to Hennessy for tomorrow. If the Hennessy says, man, roast these bitch ass niggas, I'm getting on their ass. That's a fact.
Those 3 Big Macs are for me.
But if it says, yo, man, you got your jokes off, it's funny, Just crack some jokes, whatever. So, tomorrow I'm gonna get him. Come on now. Y'all don't gotta keep spamming the head, nigga. I can see. I can see. And I got 30 days of content to get to. You know what I mean? Listen, one thing I'm gonna tell Jim Jones and them. I want to put this out there because I'm glad y'all have finally put the mic down because y'all was wasting studio time. Okay? And I'm glad y'all now in my realm. Now this is my realm, okay? I'm the Jay-Z of this. Y'all niggas, I don't think y'all were collectively that good at music anyway. So y'all was, I don't know what, y'all were in music, but when y'all in that talking internet realm, this is my realm, okay? I'm the Jay-Z, the Drake, and all of that wrapped in one. So I think, there's really no rules, but I think out of courtesy, we should throw a few in the air. Now, I could take a joke. I want to let y'all know, I could take a joke. When I'm sparking y'all up, I don't want to hear nobody say they're trying to kidnap me, kill me, shoot me. Next time you see me, you're slapping me. That's all I'm going to say. Remember, this is my realm now. We fight with this thing, okay? I don't want nobody in their feelings. That's how. I want to keep it like that. So, welcome. It's all good. I like to welcome all the washed up rappers into my realm. It's all good. And by the way, I talked about y'all before to welcome y'all into my realm, okay? Because I do like to see, and there's content for everybody. And this is like no joke shit right. This is some real shit. Y'all know I don't hate on anybody, right? The reason why I do like seeing older rappers become podcasters, not only because music is it sucks right now. The reason is their audience is not my audience. And if you want the world of podcasting and broadcasting and commentary and talk radio, or well, not talk radio, but just content creation to grow, I've always told people, don't come to me hoping that I give you gangster perspectives. Go find a gangster and get that perspective from him. I'm not the person that says that my content is meant for everybody. I used to tell people, go check out Ghost if you want that perspective. Go check out this other guy if you want a perspective like this. I could only be myself. I've never compromised, and I don't try to placate or try to cosplay as someone else. All right. So I'm not I spoke about their podcast more to really obviously I think they're having a little bit of traction without me, but I'm like, yo, shit, look at these niggas, man, of course I got at their 1990s clothing, which I could definitely take a joke back. But I haven't seen the full clip. I'm going to react to it tomorrow, but I'm just trying to tell them, I know there's no rules to this, but I need y'all to combat me with this. I don't want to hear no niggas saying, yo, we going to be outside your studio, son. Next time I see you, you better have it on you, son. I don't want to hear none of that. Because I ain't going to lie. Yo, when I seen Jim Jones, he was giving me he was down to do 15 burpees, okay? He was giving me burpee energy, okay? He was on the same energy that he was on Jim Jones fighting in the airport. So I know, Jim Jones, yo, the whole time I'm talking to Jim Jones, this nigga's flexing his pec. I'm like, what the fuck is he doing? Is he flirting or is he, tough? I can't even tell. He's just, flexing his pec. And he always got a shirt that's one size too short. He's, too small. He's just flexing his pec, looking at me. I'm like, what the fuck? And then the gray beard is throwing me off because we're at the YN concert and he's just flexing his fucking pecs. One pec up, one pec down. I'm like, what the fuck? Yo, is this nigga is he doing a workout right now? I don't know what's going on. So anyway, I'm just trying to tell y'all, when act comes through, no, I'll cook Mano too. But when I come through my response, I'm going to do the response some more. I just don't, because chat, you know how I get with people, right? It get to a point, because I look the back and forth, that niggas be like, yo, niggas got to see him. He got to come outside. And I just ran into Mano. I want no problems with Mano in the streets. But Mano's Bronny James on this goddamn microphone. Okay? Mano's Bronny James, nigga. I'm LeBron, Kareem, Wilt, and Jordan wrapped up in one. Trust me.
Now, number one, again, like I showed you guys earlier in this video, Mano was online doing this same sort of content Akademiks is doing before Akademiks. He was doing this way back in 2008. Akademiks only started in around 2013. Mano never stopped being on the radio, having his own shows and all that. So for Akademiks to say it's his realm, yeah, you might be a lot bigger at this point. You might have pioneered different avenues, but again, like I showed you guys earlier in this video, Akademiks was never a podcaster. They're doing something completely different, and Akademiks kind of acknowledges that in that clip I just showed you guys, right? He's saying he has a much different audience than a Mano and Fabulous, etc. He's not appealing to what he calls the gangster crowd, which I actually disagree. I think there's just a different audience in general for what Akademiks does on the platforms he uses versus the guys who are actually making podcasts, right? I think Mano probably has the same type of audience as a Nori or a Joe Budden. Older people who have been following hip-hop for a lot longer than Akademiks has even been in America. And they want to hear perspectives from people from their generation. It's the same thing with me, right? Like, I'm almost 28, and when I look at my stats, it shows me that a lot of you guys are between the ages of 24 to 35, around my age bracket, right? It makes sense that my thoughts, my opinions are going to align with people who have had the same experience as me, who have lived as long as me. So drop a comment on how old you guys are.
I study
Rapaholics
for a living.
And I also want to do a video eventually, drop a comment if you'd want this, just explaining the ins and outs of YouTube and how to get started if you have a passion or an interest that you want to talk about online. Because it's actually a lot easier than it looks, but there are a lot of little tips and tricks to get the ball rolling at a much faster pace than a lot of these other creators have been doing it at. Thumbnails are a huge thing, topics are a huge thing. That's a video for another day. But speaking of getting into the YouTube space, obviously again, that's Akademiks' bread and butter, but I think he's conflating podcasting with YouTube videos, right? Akademiks most definitely pioneered the YouTube content creation that even I'm doing right now. But as far as podcasting goes, he had no role in building that up, especially within hip-hop. And that's going to play an important role in his response to Mano, because it doesn't really add up, right? So the next day, like he promised, he drank a bunch of Henny and started going off on Mano, exposing a couple things, and again, trying to drive the point home that this is his space, this is the blueprint he created, he's the reason why radio is dead and why everyone has a podcast now and everyone's doing commentary on the internet. He again begs Mano and Jim Jones not to get violent with him, but he does warn them that they're approaching his space. This is his territory, and they're only here because their rap careers failed, and so now they had to resort to getting on the microphones in a different way. A way that wouldn't be possible without Akademiks, according to himself.
Look at you as dumb. Yes, we're going to say you have been around for decades, you're 50 plus, and you're mirroring the actions of a 20-year-old. I'm sorry, not only in dress, but in actions, in words, vernacular. You're not giving us no substance. Yes, we're looking at you. It's not like y'all coming like Cam and Mace. Y'all just coming like y'all are the toughest of the YNs, but y'all are the old heads. Yes. By the way, I want to keep in mind, I don't want to get put on the Mano pull-up list. Mano, this is all potted. We're doing all potted right here, brother. Do not get mad at me. You got your shit off. Your shit was funny. I liked it. My turn, okay?
Only tell you not. It's either you with it or you not. It's either you understand or you don't.
Whoa, I like that too. Mano, here's the thing. You need to cut it. Mano said, yo, it's either you this, you that, you this, and that. Yo, Mano, let me give you the details real quick. And this is why I told you, boy, you couldn't win a rap battle. Don't come over here and think you could win a battle on these microphones where we're talking and we're trading ideas with me. I keep telling you, I'm Jay-Z, Kareem, Wilt, fucking Michael Jordan, and motherfucking Tom Brady rolled up in one. You can't fuck with me. Come on, stop playing. So let me talk to you real quick. When you talking about, let me hear what you say again.
Nah, it's either you understand or you don't. Period, point blank. You understand? And when you speak about fashion and when you speak about what niggas is wearing today, let me just give you some game.
You can't give me no game.
Oh. Tim's, Air Force.
Hold on. Let me just address that real quick.
Tim's, and when you speak about time, it's either you a lame or you not. It's either you with it or you not. It's either you understand or you don't.
Respectfully, Mano, Jim Jones, y'all can't give me no game. Let me tell y'all the goddamn truth. Let me just break it down. And y'all can print this, put this everywhere. Y'all went from being lobby boys to the pod boys. Y'all was hustling on the block of being in the streets. Then y'all was hustling with the microphones and being rappers. Y'all over here trying to hustle on my block, the block that I built. The shit y'all doing, I helped build. Remember that. So y'all can't talk about lame because I never came to y'all block.
I ain't come to y'all block like, yo, I can't get no money. So, yo, listen, yo, could I sell a brick over here? Yo, I can't, my shit's slow over there. Could I start rapping? No. Rap slowed up. Nobody listening to y'all. Facts. Right? Y'all couldn't clearly get nothing in, well, I don't want to encourage nobody to get nothing in the streets. Y'all on my block. My block is a podcast broadcasting block. You on my block. I can't be lame. The lame created the block you're fucking with. Ask about it. While you're sitting there, I helped create this shit. I'm the reason, one of the reasons radio is dead. I did that. The lame did that. So if I created the block you coming to hustle on, boy, you can't tell me a motherfucking thing. What you talking about? What you talking about? Y'all went from lobby boys to pod boys. It's not happening. What are you talking about? I never came to y'all block. I've been getting money here for 15 years. Factuals. Y'all block slowed up. Y'all hustle slowed up. Y'all shit got shut down. Oh, let's move around. Let's get over to where act got going on. Yeah, I built it. But here's the thing. I'll crack some light jokes on y'all. I encourage y'all to come in. Come on in. Come on in. Shit's slow. Come on in. I think you funny sometimes. Jim funny when he not too super mad. Come on too. It's cool. Fab used to have some funny jokes on some Twitter. Come on in. It's fine. But remember what I never came to y'all block. This is why when y'all mention lame and not lame, if the lame created the block and you have to go to the block, who's the real lame? You want to talk about it?
And I think Akademiks is completely misunderstanding what Mano's trying to say. Mano's trying to say, let me give you game in terms of you're disrespecting our fashion, what we're wearing and all that, not understanding the heritage behind it, the influence that the very clothes we're wearing had on the culture that you're now commenting on. And by clowning what we're doing, what we're wearing, how we're acting, you're just creating division between the two generations. Akademiks is completely dismissing that point and trying to make it seem like this is Mano trying to school him on just how to move in general. And Akademiks is saying, you can't teach me how to move because you're in my space now. Your rap career failed, so now you had to resort to podcasting. You can't try to give me advice on anything when I made the type of platform that you're now on. Which again is nonsense because again, Mano's been doing this a lot longer than Akademiks, even though he wasn't as successful. As you can see by the quick success he's had with his new podcast and the way he's rapid firing shots at Akademiks, he definitely knows what he's doing in terms of being a broadcaster or commentator. As far as what Akademiks knows on the other end, on fashion, absolutely nothing, as we saw from that earlier clip with him not even knowing how big jerseys were back in the 2000s. I mean, we're talking like 2001. I was maybe, 4 years old? I even knew how significant the baggy jerseys were in streetwear or hip-hop fashion. And think about it like this, right? Like, all Mano did was call Akademiks a jar of relish and try to tell Akademiks that he's, creating division between the generations by not understanding the heritage of their fashion choices, right? But you'll see Akademiks escalates that to the highest degree while still not wanting any violent repercussions for the things that he says.
I don't think you do.
Period. Point blank. You understand? And when you speak about fashion and when you speak about what niggas is wearing today, let me just give you some game though.
Oh, you're giving me the game. Bruh, it's a joke. I was just joking about the headband. The shit look a little antiquated because the content I watch y'all give out is not age appropriate. Y'all not giving age appropriate shit. Y'all giving energy like y'all YNs, but y'all 50. So when I'm looking at y'all, I'm like, well, the aesthetic didn't match. I made a light joke. Who gives a fuck? I'm not no dresser either, but Mano ain't about to give me no damn. He ain't about to give me no fashion lesson. Mano, you're not giving me a fashion lesson, bro. Like, there's a couple niggas that could do it. You're not doing it. You're not doing it, Mano. Mano, you are not doing it. This is you and the lobby boys and the pod boys. Y'all are not doing it. Y'all look like a bunch of gang handkerchiefs. Y'all are not doing it. I'm sorry. Like, nobody's ever said, look at Mano for the drip. Mano, don't get mad at me and try to beat me up. You're the one who, listen, this is my field. I wouldn't get in a rap battle with you, even though I don't think you can rap that well. But still, like, Jim could rap it, but I wouldn't get in a rap battle with Jim. Like, y'all come to my field. I told this my block. Hold up now. Like, come on, like, come on. Bruh, the full jersey with, this is what? This is what y'all talk about? Hey, listen, everybody know I can't dress for shit.
But when this nigga's trying to give me a history lesson, I gotta Google to see how he's been dressing. What? Hold on. Hi, hater. I see you. What the hell? Nah, yo, listen. Oh, hell nah. Oh, hell nah. Yo, Mano, respectfully, Mano. Respectfully, Mano. Like, we have to really, like, what are we doing here, Mano? Mano, I love you. Remember, I just seen you were taking shots together. Mano, do not get mad. I do this to everybody, and I had to give y'all the same energy. But don't get mad. Yo, Chad, I see why niggas want to beat me up. Because after I'm done roasting them, fuck the words. It's time to fight. I ain't gonna lie to you, Chad. I see it. I do see it. Yeah. Look at y'all niggas, man. Anyway. All right.
Tim's, Air Force One.
Okay. He's giving me the breakdown. Okay.
Pele's.
Brother, this is not 2003, but okay.
Avorexes and all the things that you see people wear today. Those things was made hot.
Yo, why are you speaking up for his boyfriend? Yo, don't beat me up for that, man. I love you.
In this generation here. Those are the things that was made hot in the 80s and the 90s, and we made popular. So, like, leave niggas out of that. Like, you giving it your opinion, and
Yo, Mano, it was a joke. Hey, that's another thing. Yo, Mano, Jim Jones, yo, I get y'all having a tough off on that podcast. I get it, bro. Yo, we're potted. We're doing content. This is jokes. Yeah, you said I look like a bag of relish. I don't even know what that looked like, but I Googled it. I was like, okay, that's kind of funny. Then you said I look like a box of sardines. Actually, you didn't say that, but I just gave you a joke. It's cool. I'm cool with it. Bruv, let me get my jokes off too. Don't get mad. Do not give me the Young Berg treatment. Please don't.
Opinion of you is, I think you built like a fucking a woman with 4 kids. Like,
oh shit. Okay. All right, that was a good one. I've heard that before. Okay. Yeah. All right. There you go. Go on.
Like, what are we really talking about?
Yeah.
No. Let me talk though, because
there was nobody interrupting you. Yo, what is Mano? Yo, Mano thought he was cooking on this one. Yo, whoa, let me talk. Nobody's interrupting you, bro.
No. Let me talk though, because this is the problem. Niggas been talking every day.
Hey, listen, Mano, you're going off the deep end here, Mano.
Now, this is all fun and jokes, but this is where Akademiks takes things to another level. Aside from, again, ignoring the heritage, ignoring the history lesson, right? He doesn't care. These are a bunch of old guys trying to act like young guys. He's clowning their outfits. He doesn't care about the heritage. It doesn't matter, right? It's about the present. And presently, Mano called Akademiks a chicken nugget, saying all the girls that he's been with that Mano talks to have said Akademiks is a chicken nugget. Well, Akademiks had some exposés on Mano's bedroom's activities as well. And I mean, again, this is like step one of where things might be getting to the point of no return. He plays an old clip of Mano talking about this weird kink that he has in the bedroom. And I mean, I'll let you guys listen to it.
I didn't think we were going to talk about sexual escapades and how we handle it in the bedroom, but you're the big dictator, right? Chat, here's the thing. You want to hear how the big dictator gives it up? I got you, chat. This is how the big dictator gives it up.
What are you talking about? I did it for all them years.
Did you like that?
Huh?
No, what was the role play?
Yeah. The role play.
What was the roles? This feels like it's gonna be so.
How does the big dictator give it up?
Wrong.
It's so wrong. I'm gonna tell you right now. I've never talked about this.
Ah, shit. Dun, dun, dun.
I like to be like a runaway slave.
Oh shit! The big dictator is a runaway slave? Mano, you know you don't f up. You can't fuck with me on this goddamn mic, man. You couldn't fuck with rappers and rap. You think you gonna fuck with me podcasting?
Now, the way Mano spun this on Akademiks is genius, all right? You want to bring up some odd, kinky stuff that Mano has going on in the bedroom that he's been open about, I guess, in the past. You're digging yourself down a far rabbit hole when we know about the odd S stuff that has been exposed on your end. Aside from the S assault accusations against Akademiks, we all saw what happened earlier this year when he was in that Discord chat with the 15 kid asking him if he'd let Playboi Max do all this S stuff with him. A kid who's 15 asking him about his S experiences, what he's into, all this like deranged stuff, right? And we kind of all just brushed it under the rug. No one talks about it at this point. And this is why it's genius on Mano's end, because if they're going to go back and forth and trade insults, how do you rebuttal something like that as Akademiks? And by Akademiks entertaining this, giving this a platform, he's allowing Mano to bring up all this stuff that will now resurface to the light. A lot of people probably didn't even know about all that 15-year-old stuff, right? Like Snackadidler had said, him and Mano have different audiences. Now Mano's whole audience can go and look up what the hell he's talking about with the 15-year-old and the Discord and realize Akademiks might be a whole freak. And Mano just completely destroys him. I mean, Akademiks, I didn't even play you guys his full rant, but it was like 15 minutes long. Mano destroys him in a minute and a half. All he has to do is bring up direct things that Akademiks has done that are beyond deranged. And Akademiks is cooked. And now he has his little minion on Twitter, Grand Wizard, the guy who, runs his Akademiks TV Twitter page. He's bringing up all these rumors about Mano snitching to get out of jail and all this stuff. Again, hiding behind an employee of his and bringing it into street stuff when he asked Mano not to make this a violent thing, right? Now it's almost like he's asking for it, but let's take a look at what Mano had to say.
DJ Akademiks, you talking again? You let your pride and Hennessy get you to the point to gas you up to say things that don't even make no sense on the internet? You? Again? You on the internet talking about your lane. But let me ask you something about your lane. Was it your lane when that lady said that you forced herself on her? Huh? Is that your lane? Huh? Sexual assault, is that your lane? All word, because that's what you accused for, right? Ain't that the shit that you paid out for? But I'm gonna give you one even better than that. Was it your lane when you was on the internet having that conversation with that 15-year-old boy and you talking about going up in him and putting things in him and giving him sex talk and talking about having sex with him? Is that your lane? That's not the lane that I'm in. That's not the lane that I'm a part of. You ain't nothing but a sexually deviant elf, boy. What's wrong with you? You an alcoholic that's a pervert that's built like Papa Smurf. Come on. You could have left this alone. You said something first, I said something back. We could have left it at that. But you talking again, knowing that we got recordings of you having talk with a 15-year-old. He told you he was 15 years old and he wasn't gay. But you still try to push your agenda on him. Leave this alone, man. You got too many things going on. You understand what I'm saying? The only thing on the internet that belongs to you is your titties and that bottle of Hennessy. You're sitting there on that chair with your thighs rubbing, you're sweating. The girls say you stink. Come on, man. Stop playing. Come on. Look. You ain't winning nothing.
So, as you can see, in my opinion at least, I think this is going down a rabbit hole that Akademiks probably wants no real part of. And there's a lot of hypocrisies in his rebuttals against Mano, right? Everything from him not even understanding the history of the fashion, him not knowing Mano's involvement in the rise of, internet content creation, and him conflating his YouTube influence with actual podcasting, right? Because he had no real influence or impact on that specific niche. But someone who most definitely did have an impact in the podcast space was none other than Joe Budden, who had his podcast give their thoughts on this entire situation. And I think the best perspective to come out of the Joe Budden podcast was from their new co-host, Mona, aka Don't Call Me White Girl. She's hilarious. She, I guess, replaced Melissa Ford as the female voice on the podcast. And she's corroborating Mano's accusations or rumors that girls say Akademiks is a chicken nugget in the pants. She's saying when you sleep with someone as loud as Akademiks and then, he pulls down his pants and that's what you see, you end up naturally talking about it because, it doesn't fit his personality. It's not very big D energy, I guess.
It was long too, but I think my favorite part by far was when he compared their dicks. Mano basically said in so many words that he knows the hoes. He knows the hoes, he's in the streets, and the hoes call Ack chicken nugget. I would like to also say I've heard the same. He said that he is a big dominator. He said something like that.
Dictator.
And, he's a big dictator. And don't talk to him like that. You can't even stand with him.
How does that come back to you? Somebody's like news about their shit being chicken nugget?
With me, because I told this to Joey, I'm the type of person, if my friends say they fuck somebody, the first thing I say is like, how was the pussy? How was it? You know what I mean? So, right there. And not to mention, if you fuck somebody like Akademiks, as big as his mouth is, you're going to say something about that dick being little because it's funny. You know what I mean? Especially his build. He already built like a baby mom. So it's like built like baby mom with his little ass dick. It's funny as shit. Yes, I'm not a big fan of him. I hope that's not nobody's cousin. I said that with love.
I mean, him and I had one of the biggest shows ever. That's all.
I said y'all little show.
We ain't gonna talk about it.
You made it. You made the show.
We all had a hand in it.
Oh, you don't fuck with that?
I'm sorry, I just don't.
Did you not gather that from the last?
Now, she then goes on to give an even more interesting point in that she doesn't really like Akademiks, right? Just because of the way he's come up, right? The same influence that he's talking about having that, you know, now Mano is stepping into his house. He built that house off of some really dark infrastructure, right? He built his name off of the War in Chirac series, where he's capitalizing off of deaths and circumstances that he's not a part of and making fun of it, essentially, making money and making a mockery and making it mainstream to clown on people who are really losing their lives. And I'm not saying he was necessarily clowning on them specifically with the intention of, let me make these guys look like fools for my own personal benefit, but through the satirization, even if his intention was to, you know, highlight how stupid it is to commit crimes, you didn't grow up in those areas. You didn't grow up in those circumstances. You don't know what those circumstances will lead you to decide to do with your life. That's why a lot of people resort to crime. That's why I don't talk about that stuff on this channel, because I have no attachment to that lifestyle. So I don't think it'd be fair for me to give my opinion on something that I definitely can't, you know, feel the full context behind.
Do y'all really want to know for real? When I found out the history of him, like how he started, I was just like, what the fuck, people let that fly? Like the reporting on Chicago and stuff like that. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of people that are like not in the streets at all, doing all street content. I just don't get that. Like, you know what I mean? I just feel like you have to be at least adjacent to it to be able to report on it. You know what I mean? In my personal opinion. I don't want to hear shit from a square that wouldn't even walk through these blocks they discuss every day. I don't. That's my personal opinion.
I don't know if I agree. I think good coverage is good coverage.
How can you cover it good if you don't understand it, never seen it, never been there, never been close to it? How can you cover it well? How?
Would that be the same thing as if you compare like I won't say Stephen A, but someone who's never actually played the sport, or someone who's not actually involved in that way, but still able to speak about it in a way that sounds like they know what they're talking about?
No.
You would
not
be
at
the
all.
same?
No. People lose their lives in the street. It's a
Not
different
just that,
thing.
it's a politics that come in the street that if you discussing it from a wide array, you might not understand.
There's a politics that come with everything that you
you compare to the sports.
I'm saying, well, she's saying because he's never come from the streets, he's never done any of the things that happen in the streets, he shouldn't be able to report on it. I'm not saying she's right or wrong. I'm just saying, I think if you're a good reporter and you have enough knowledge on how to find out information on something, you can report on it in an honest way,
That's
even
true.
though you have not experienced it yourself.
I didn't say he shouldn't. I'm just giving you the difference between the streets and sports. I didn't say he can't report on it.
Yeah, the politics of sports is much more widely discussed than the politics of
street stuff.
illegal
Yeah.
enterprises.
Right, because a lot of times what I see
more
is
accurately and openly.
Okay.
Well, a lot of times what I see is people report on the streets, and then it's always this little twang of like disgust almost. Like, you know, they're stupid, or it was like you don't understand it enough to even have that opinion. You know what I mean? Like, I don't, this is my personal opinion, especially when people he built his whole shit off that. I never knew that. That's how he started with the reporting on all the drill stuff. You know what I'm saying? And so many people lost their lives in Chicago. It's ground zero for that. That's where, in my opinion, Chicago influenced the country, the world. I listen to drill from Germany. You know what I mean? And it's like real drill music has real crime in it. It's assault and murder in it. So, you know.
I feel you.
So then Ice comes in with the rebuttal of, you know, if rappers are already putting this into the music, why is it not fair for someone on the outside to report on what they see? And I mean, just to give you guys my perspective on that, like, I just saw that Traplo Ross thing about NBA YoungBoy having 19 bodies. In my opinion, even if that's what he's discussing in his music, even if that is the case, that he has 19 bodies or he hired people to unalive 19 different people, you spreading these unconfirmed narratives on your page when you're halfway across the world in London, you're not going to face these direct repercussions from the type of videos that you put out. You're getting 500,000 views in a day, but you don't know the type of repercussions that could lead to in the streets of Baton Rouge, right? And you'll never know. You won't have to face those consequences. You're just going to make money off of fueling these narratives that may or may not even be real. It's a different thing if you're covering all different forms of true crime, whether it's murders that have actually been solved or cases that are pending. But instead, he's just focusing on rappers because that's what's going to drive in the views and linking them to unalivings that they may or may not have even been responsible for without caring, how that can actually spiral into more unalivings, more gang wars based off rumors that are now being fueled. Like, I think it's one thing to report on stuff like the David situation, right? Or even like the Lil Durk arrest, right? Like, that's a real arrest that happened. An investigation where real evidence was concocted, not just a bunch of sneak disses and lyrics and trying to piece things together to concoct a narrative. There's a difference. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think on that in the comments. But let's hear what Ice had to say about that in terms of Akademiks.
I don't know enough about it to comment. No. See,
you know?
No. And the reason why I don't, I'm talking about I'm talking about in terms of the Akademiks part of it. I just don't know. I don't know his backstory, so I don't know enough about it.
From what I heard, he was reporting on Chicago stuff, and he renamed them.
He started a series called The War on Chirac, and where he was basically almost on some investigative journalism type shit, breaking down what was going on in their streets. It was a YouTube series, and it took off, and it's what propelled him to, where he's at. See, my thing with this is,
I don't know if you got to be in the streets to do that.
I don't think you have to be in the streets to do that.
I'm okay with that.
But for a lot of people saying, like, I hear a lot. People say I don't want to hear non-street people talk about street shit. But these same street people are making songs and putting them out there for public consumption.
Right.
So if I hear something like, I can't speak on any topic that a musician puts out if I don't live it.
No, I wasn't talking about music. I'm talking about the street.
But I'm saying, this is a lot of these people were putting this shit in music. Yeah, they're actively putting details of street shit in music and putting it out there for people to listen to. These people have gained millions of fans from chronicling their street shit in music. So for someone to now pick up the breadcrumbs, put the pieces together from shit that y'all are saying in your music, it ain't just Chicago. I can name a couple other cities that's been doing the same thing where I don't know none of you niggas, but I know what happened. I know who did what with this and that because y'all put it in your music
or you
and put
think
it out.
You know, yeah.
I know more than I should know as a person who's not involved in it.
You should, yeah.
I know way more than I should know for a person that's not involved in it at all.
Right.
And where did that information come from? From them.
Right.
Putting it out. So now, does that make you wrong for taking the information or the music that y'all put out and talking about it?
Well, it's levels. And we talking about a person that built a career off of it.
Now, as far as bringing it back to the whole Mano situation, Joe and the rest of the podcast kind of echo my thoughts in terms of you're clowning these guys as fashion without even knowing the history of their influence within fashion. And beyond that, you're begging for this to not turn into something violent, but you're saying things that could lead to violence, right? And I get it. I do think it also should be just for the sake of the content. There's no need to start beating people up over internet stuff. But if there's one thing with Akademiks is he's going to escalate a situation to bring in more clicks, more views for himself, and to make himself look better because he knows he's safe behind a computer screen. But the difference is you're dealing with someone here who, if you know their history, you know they're not going to play about disrespect. You can't set your own standards to the situation when you're the one escalating the entire thing, right? And that's what Joe is essentially saying here.
Jack is my man, and I love him to death.
100%.
When you say that, you know why you're saying that. You
know why you're saying it.
You're not saying it. You're not saying it to say, hey, it's all in fun. It's all, anything I say, we just playing. Remember, it's like you don't. Nah, it don't work like that.
Yeah,
that's not how it works.
He's saying it as I know how y'all give it up. I ain't on that. And if we're gonna joke, we can do the jokey joke.
Why you coming to me knowing that?
But it should be.
Don't start with me then. I'm not the nigga to play with like that. I've never been known to be that nigga. Every nigga up there has had a record in the past of doing something to somebody.
That's a fact.
Mano, Jim. Not Dave. I don't know about Dave, but everybody up there. Yeah. So why would you even play with us, especially when we not looking for that from you?
And we didn't
ask to be a part of that.
I hear what you're saying, and I'm saying, and pardon me for 2 seconds. 2 of them niggas is part of New York fashion history, no matter what you say.
Bro, what are we talking about?
100%.
That's a fact.
So, I mean, I feel like that's important in the fashion wars that they having.
Yeah.
Like, whatever you got to say about how Fab look, and I think Mano is one of the better dressed gentlemen in hip hop around my age.
Agreed.
But Jim and Fab, their name is up there already in New York fashion.
Come on.
I agree.
Yeah,
but back to your violence part. Yeah, I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
And Joe also emphasizes or almost warns Akademiks, like, you just had a run-in with Jim Jones that wasn't the friendliest at the NBA Youngboy concert, right? And you pick now to start clowning their podcast or clowning them of all the different people you can go and attack. You can't do that when these guys already maybe don't like you and then expect that things to not escalate just because you don't want them to.
Like, if we just want to have an all the way truthful conversation, if I'm Ak, this is the one part that I don't have nothing to say about. If you just had your run-in with Jim at whatever at the Young Boy concert, varying details there, but I wouldn't be talking about. I don't think it wasn't the friendliest.
And he mentioned Jim. He didn't just crack jokes on Fab. He mentioned Jim and how he dressed and all that. So it's,
Imani, I don't think you're wrong.
And as far as the, altercation that Akademiks and Jim Jones had at the concert, I'll try to throw in a clip of that right here.
He kept asking questions like, yo, do y'all think the shit y'all do online is cool? So I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm kind of confused, honestly. I'm legit confused. And I know some people are going to be like, no, Ak, playing dumb. But I'm kind of confused because I'm also trying to figure out what it could be, right? And I didn't get too much info out of him, but he mentioned 6ix9ine. He said, whatever 6ix9ine. Then he's like, yo, y'all gotta know, it ain't safe.
But so yeah, ultimately, as you can see, right, this is probably the wrong podcast to pick on. These are also vets in the game, right? You're commenting on hip-hop, but these guys are hip-hop. You had just gotten to America when they were influencing America with their fashion. The same fashion you're now clowning and refusing to accept the history and the influence and the significance behind it. And respect to Mano on keeping this strictly, podcasting or strictly on the internet, because there is a lot of dirt on Akademiks' shoulder that you can bring up, right? In terms of just what we've seen in the last year. And I think just mentioning that, bringing that back into the light, does way more damage to Akademiks than any violent altercation would. But ultimately, let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you in the next one.
I study
Rapaholics
for a living.